is Sliwa. This is the Rip and Read.
Everybody go, hotel, motel, what you gonna do today? Cause I'm gonna get a fly girl, gonna get some spank and drive off in a death OJ. Everybody go, hotel, motel, holiday in. See if your girl starts acting up, then you take her friend. I'm Master G.
Oh, this had to be on the Dre headset of this guy, Moreno, the migrant influencer, illegal alien from Venezuela, who's right in the middle of the heartland, Columbus, Ohio. And on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, teaching a whole wave of migrants and illegal aliens how to scam the American system. And he's upset because when he made his way through the United States, Justin Ellick to Canada, he thought like everyone else that, Twinkle Toes Trudeau and Ottawa, Canada, very liberal, very progressive. It's probably has policies that are a lot easier for the illegals to get in. And he said he thought that. And a lot of the Venezuelans thought that. But he first worked his way through America, went up to Canada, and he says they didn't give us a hotel. They didn't promise us sanctuary status. There was no job, no papers, and they gave us just a month to stay. So we bagged it. We knew, me and my wife, we were going to have a baby. So we're not going to have a baby in Canada because they're not going to give us status. What's the next best thing? Go to the U.S. of A. Because if you have an anchor baby, if your baby drops on American soil, guess what? You ain't ever going back. No. You ain't ever going back. Let's listen to a little bit of this Moreno character that the Biden administration says they can't find, yet everybody watches him on his Instagram, his TikTok, his Facebook, all around the world, and especially in Venezuela, where he has a following of those migrants who can't wait to come across Papa Joe Biden's open border.
Mi gente, he pensado invadir una casa en United States, ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla.
All right, don't get nervous. They haven't taken over yet, WABC. Justin Ellick, even though you're a graduate of Chappaqua, where even the lawn jockeys are white, the world's richest white suburb in Westchester, he's learning Hebrew, but he doesn't know any Spanish. So we had to get a translation of what this guy, who looks like Bad Bunny. But Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican, so he's an American by birth. This guy is an illegal alien from Venezuela. And he said there, I have thought about invading a house in the United States. I found out that there is a law that says that if a house is not inhabited, we can seize it. Sounds like what Hugo Chavez probably taught him in socialist Venezuela years ago, and then Maduro, who decided to cut them loose and told them, go to America. Go to America, like Castro released Cubans from his mental institutions and his prisons in 1980 to that sucker, Jimmy Carter, who was on the shores of Florida to welcome the Mariolito invasion. What a problem that was. This is 10 times worse. So this guy apparently first came across at Eagle Pass, Texas. Now, you're supposed to stay incarcerated for 3 days before they parole you into the United States. But because of a lack of space, they cut him loose after a day, did no background check whatsoever. It's called Alternatives to Detention Program. But he needed a sponsor. Wrong way, Lou Rufino, guess who volunteered to be his sponsor like they do for so many? The largest NGO involved in a racket that is a RICO conspiracy racket, Catholic Charities out of Miami. He listed them as his point of contact in the U.S. Basically, they're his quasi-sponsor. And they do this for a lot of illegal aliens and migrants. And Catholic Charities is making money hand over fist from the federal government through the Biden administration. They are the number one nonprofit who makes money on this. None of the money that is collected, like on Good Friday or collected on Easter Sunday, will go to aiding and abetting the invasion of America. This all comes through the federal government. What all you good Catholics have to do if you go to church on Good Friday and if you go to church on Easter, which a lot of you will, is if there's still a priest in your parish, if there's still a priest, you go up to him. You go up to the deacons. You go up to the nuns. You go up to the lay people who are in charge of the parish and whatever diocese you're with and say, why are we attached to Catholic Charities? Why are we aiding and abetting this invasion? Look at this guy Moreno, the number one influencer who encourages the migrants to commit crime while they're here. Why are we sponsoring this guy? And tell him you're not gonna contribute any longer to the Catholic Church, to the parish, to this nothing until they end this nonsense. It's gonna come from you, the parishioners, because they're making too much money from us, the sucker taxpayers, through the Biden administration. So here it is, Moreno, who flaunts supplies purchased using food stamps in Ohio. He can also be seen on his Instagram waving a fake Social Security card while laying in bed with his baby. He says over and over in Spanish, I don't like to work. Boys, in the U.S., there are a million tricks, a million things to do. He says as he outlines how to live effectively for free in a new country by engaging in scams. Quote, I've concluded that the American dream is real. I've lived here for more than a year since I left Canada, which didn't give me all the things I thought I would get. And here I never had to work. Look at the food. And he points to all the food. It's the best quality. They don't just give you leftovers. And he continues on and on. He talks about, hey, work is for slave boys. Remember, work is for slaves. Where have you seen a millionaire work? Don't humiliate yourself. You have to be creative. Go out there, beg for money. And he shows what is plaguing so many neighborhoods surrounding Floyd Bennett Field, where I've been meeting with people on the Hush Hush Mush Mush in Mill Basin, Marine Park, Erickson Beach, Bergen Beach, and across the Gil Hodges Bridge in the Irish Riviera, the Rockaways, and in Breezy Point. He says, look, I use my child. Nobody's going to stop for me in the street and give money to me or my wife. But when they say that I'm holding this sign in broken English, I need to feed my baby, Americans will stop and they will give you money. He teaches them all these tricks. He also teaches his followers, which a lot of liars for hire are doing, 1-800-ABOGATO, 1-800-LIARS for hire, how to fake an injury. I've seen this myself outside of Creedmoor. None of the lawyers would help us go into court and get a suit against the Adams administration and Kathy Crime Wave Holcomb to stop the erecting of the tents. They said they didn't want to offend Biden. They didn't want to offend Eric Adams. They didn't want to offend Kathy Crime Wave Holcomb. So instead, they stay outside of Creedmoor and they sign up clients. Many of them are the 1,000 single able-bodied young men with nothing to do, nowhere to go, of military age. And they teach them the American way of grifting. Fake that you've been hit by an MTA bus or a Nassau County bus or a truck or a car, fall on the ground like your flipper, and then all of a sudden we'll split it three ways, Justin Ellick. This is the American grifter way. You get a third. The chiropractor or the doctor who diagnoses you that you're incontinent, you're impotent, you'll never function normally, he gets a third, and the lawyer gets a third. This is what the lawyers are doing. And he teaches them. He goes, look, you can fake being injured. You make a leg cast with plastic and Velcro. And then you sue. That's the American way. And the Biden administration says that they can't find him. He's right there doing these videos in the middle of the heartland of America, Columbus, Ohio. And then he gave a special shout out. You'll like this, Wrong Way, Lou Ruffino. He says, after my wife gave birth, I took this video right in our hospital room, paid for totally by Joe Biden. And I want to thank Papa Biden for paying for this and everything else. The Papa Chulo to all these migrants and illegals is Joe Biden. And this number one miscreant, this number one migrant influencer who is teaching everyone coming in that they have an option to commit crime, to be a grifter, to get over, to never have to work another day of their life, is thanking his Papa Chulo, Papa Biden, for this opportunity. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. If only 10% of the Venezuelans, in particular in New York City, where 40% of the illegals, the migrants of Venezuela, follow this guy, we have a crime crisis. Yes, Eric Adams, you rolled out the red carpet for him, and we have a crime crisis because of them and all the other craziness going on. Up next, I was up at 125th and Lex yesterday, my birthday, because work has to be done. This city is sliding into the abyss, and Mayor Adams, it's not perception, because perception for those that use the subway is reality, and you are delusional.